am proud to introduce our next guest, Mr. Glenn Sculthorpe, Navy Master Chief. Mr. Sculthorpe served as a missile technician on submarines from 1987 to 2017 in Kings Bay. We appreciate that he is here today.
Good morning. My name is Glenn Sculthorpe, like you just stated. This morning I represent the United States Navy. The question Ms. Everett asked me a couple weeks ago was, why did I pick this service? For me, the answer was very easy. I chose the Navy because my father served in the Navy and his father before him. You could say it was in our blood. My dad sat in the backseat of dive bombers during World War II. During the Korean War. He's not that old. Then he transferred into the Naval Reserve where he became a corpsman, and he served the remainder of his time stationed with the Marine Corps, and he was retired at the age of 62. My dad loves the service, and he still loves the Marine Corps. My grandfather was part of the construction battalion, better known as the Seabees, during World War II. Before graduating high school, I knew I wanted to be part of the Navy and carry on the family tradition. My intention this morning is to give you a brief glimpse into the world I've lived in for a majority of my life. I'll do my best to keep it interesting, amusing, and yet short. I will also do my best to put in together just a little bit of history and a little bit of math, since we are in a school environment. I do remember an early history lesson where it stated that 71% of the Earth's surface is covered in water, and that whoever controls the oceans will control the world. I knew then that I wanted to be part of that world. I wanted to be part of something that was different, something that was challenging, and something not everyone can do. The submarine force intrigued me. They were a small group of men that were dedicated to getting the mission completed. During the Second World War, submarines comprised less than 2% of the United States Navy, but sank more than 30% of the Japanese Navy. More importantly, American submarines contributed to the virtual strangling of the Japanese economy by sinking almost 5 million tons of their commercial shipping, which equated to 60% of the merchant marine force. I read everything I could about the submarine force. It fascinated me. I wanted to become part of the elite group. I chose to become a submariner. After graduation from high school, I enlisted, and away I went. Today's modern submarine force consists of approximately 28,000 officers and enlisted. That equates to about 12% of the United States Navy. Not a very big part of it. Today's submarines are 100% nuclear powered, controlling the depths of the ocean, taking the fight to our enemies, and providing maritime security around the world. I'm proud to say that I am part of that community. I spent my entire career in the submarine force, a majority of it just south of here in Kings Bay. I've been stationed on 5 different submarines, totaling a total of 16 years of sea service. Of that 16 years, doing the simple math, I figure I've spent roughly 8 years submerged. So that's a long time. Now, this morning, I would like to give you a brief glimpse into my world, but before we do that, we need to change some things. These are not walls, these are bulkheads. This is not a floor, it would be the deck. And above you is not a ceiling, it is an overhead. Okay, so now that we established that, let's take a submarine and let's get underway for just a little bit. I'll take you around a quick tour. One of the first things we do when we leave port after a refit period, we get out and we submerge the ship. One of the next things we do, we want to make sure everything is stowed for sea so it doesn't make any noise. Officially, it's referred to as large angles. What the crew refers to it as angles and dangles. We'll take the ship and we'll exercise it. We'll go up and down 15 degrees and 20 degrees and 30 degrees. And you think, oh, 15-degree ride, 20-degree ride isn't much. But let me paint the picture just a little bit more for you. It's kind of like a submerged roller coaster. But a Trident-class submarine is 560 feet long, it's 42 feet in diameter, and it weighs approximately 18,000 tons. So if you take that and you want to start exercising it up and down, it's big. And to put it into simpler terms, it's about the length of a 42-story office building. So it's big. Angles and dangles were always fun. I enjoyed it from the first time I did it until the last time I did it. But as I progressed through the ranks, I was able to go and get myself in positions where I actually controlled the ship. And that was very exciting. Another exciting event that I was able to be part of was around the year 2000, we picked up then Vice President Dick Cheney, picked him up out of Port Canaveral, Florida, and took him out to sea for approximately 8 hours. It was hard on the crew, it was a long day. We got a helicopter escort to the dive point, which was fun. We did angles and dangles for the Vice President. He enjoyed that, and he toured around the ship. I was able to give him a tour of the torpedo room, where he was very interested about the submarine and the weapon system. His questions were pointed more at me and my family. How often could I communicate with him? When would I be able to see him again? We were also the first submarine ever, once we surfaced, to call the White House. Instead, we were on the surface and holding. So it was very, very interesting. Another interesting thing about the submarine force is something that we refer to as swim calls. And it's really just that simple. If if we're in the right part of the ocean and the water is warm and the ocean is clear, we'll surface the ship, and then the cap will let us get in the water and swim around for a while. It's a great morale booster. It's one thing to step off the beach and swim in the ocean. It's another thing to know that there is miles below you until you hit the bottom. So it's very interesting. Another thing that I was able to experience just a few times in my career that don't happen very often is something called the Tiger Cruise. That's where you're allowed to take family members underway with you. Sometimes for just 12 or 15 hours, sometimes for a couple days. I was fortunate in the late 90s to be able to take my dad underway with me. It was an interesting experience. We were able to get him in a position when it was time to submerge the ship, he was at the controls. So here's a retired Navy veteran, served with the Marine Corps, but now father and son underway. He flipped the switches when the order was given to submerge the ship. Never forget, it was awesome. So as we wrap our patrol up and we head back home, we surface, we come in, and as we come around the corner, who's waiting on the pier? The families. It's hard to articulate that feeling. The best thing that I can tell you is when you see the videos on TV of homecomings, how the kids react and how the families react, that's exactly what it is. I could get into more detail, but it gets a little emotional, so I'll say what you see is true. So let's see here. I retired in August of 2017 after a 30-year career. I loved every day of it, but it was time for the next generation to take the helm. It was an awesome career. I did a lot of good things, met a lot of good people, still in contact with a lot of them too. But with that, I'd like to say thank you, Ms. Everett, for inviting me here today. And I would like, and I wish that everyone has a blessed and safe day. Thank you.